The ancient garden was uncovered in 2032. While searching for a new home, my grandfather stumbled across an odd hill by a river. There were strange flowers that burned his clothes when he brushed past them. The sun was low, so he set up camp for the night. This seemed like a good place to stay, and he was curious about the hill with the flowers. The next morning, he plucked them and replanted them in pots. He placed them on the bank of the river, just inside the water, and surrounded them with stones to make sure they wouldn't fall. He then spent several hours fishing, sat next to the orange, frilled flowers so he could make sure no one was nearby. After catching a few fish and having lunch, he jumped on his horse and returned to Morthwell. When he got back to the hill, he began digging as my grandmother kept watch. That's when they first saw the fractured doorway of the stage. It took them 7 years to unbury the garden. They think it might have been used as a school, or maybe a theater. But it was my father who figured out how to build the gateway. Welcome back to Vault Hunters. Last time I got started with Botania by building this greenhouse. And now I want to do a little more with this back area behind the main house. Over here on the right side, I want to build an ancient garden. My plan is to make it look kind of like old ruins, somewhere where the ancient magic has been being used for years and generations and has slowly but surely been withered down over time. I want to put a little platform over here to put the portal on that you use for Elven trading. And right in the section between the greenhouse and the platform, I want to put a little fountain for the terrestrial agglomeration plate. And I think that is where I'm going to start things today. But first off, I'm going to need to make the agglomeration plate, and that's going to cost a whole bunch of runes. Okay, I am going to need water, fire, earth, air, and mana. And together with some lapis and a block of mana steel, that'll give me the agglomeration plate. Now that's going to go right in the middle. I'm going to surround that with a couple of slabs, so we'll put the water on top of those. Get a couple of stairs surrounding the edges. And I'm going to put blocks on the corners. We're going to have these chiseled living stone blocks. On top of those living stone blocks, it's going to vary in what size to kind of give it that rune effect. And then what do I want here? Let's take that one. And then 3 on this one. And a slab right on top. Now I can fill that up with some water. And we got a fountain. And there's one last thing I need to put on here. A spark. A spark is going to let me draw mana from a nearby mana pool, and that'll be used to power the terrestrial agglomeration plate. And it adds just a tiny little bit of like a nice magical touch. Kind of cool, and it's not overwhelming at all. But once the magic starts flowing into it, it'll really start looking cool. Okay, now I can start putting together the platform for the portal. I'm going to bring forward the stairs in the front, just one block to add a little bit more depth to it. I also want to add a couple of doorways on the back side, and I want some of these to seem kind of broken, so I'm going to leave a few blocks out of a couple of them. Alright, there we go. It's starting to look a little bit more like ruins now. Okay, let's add in some walls, fill this out a little bit more, and there we go. I'm starting to like how this is turning out. I'm going to bring a couple of walls just a little bit further out, and I'm going to add a few more walls a little bit closer to the fountain here. And lastly, I'm going to put a couple of mana pools right on top of the stage here. But these aren't going to be normal mana pools. These are actually going to be powering the Elven trading portal. Yeah, there we go. I'm liking the way this is coming out. Now I want to use a few cobblestone textures to make a path going from the fountain to the stage here. But I want it to be kind of zigzagging back and forth, so I'm going to outline it with path blocks first, knock all those out, and then come around and detail it. I don't want it to be a perfectly straight path, so I'm going to kind of wind it in and out a little bit on both sides. Alright, there we go. That's got a decent little shape to it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just take out all of those path blocks. And then just on the outside, I'm going to do a variation of different mossy blocks and deep slate. And that'll help me blend into the grass on the sides a little bit better. Then I'll fill in the rest of the blocks with mostly cobblestone and just a little bit of the mossy stuff. Alright, that path is starting to take shape. It still looks weird around the edges, obviously. Once some plants start to get in, hopefully that'll look a little bit better. Now I want to go ahead and do the same thing around the fountain here. And just like that, things are starting to come together. Okay, before I get some flowers put in here, I want to build a tree over here on the right side and kind of make it look like it's grown between where the wall was, just to kind of show how old these ruins are. This mod pack does add some new azalea wood. It's kind of like a pinkish oak wood, and I'm going to use that for the tree. Kind of give a nice extra touch of color. There's gonna be a bunch of color in here once I get all the flowers in. I want to have all 16 different colors of flowers from Botania, and that way I'll be able to get my dye from here as well. I want this to kind of come up and arch over this a little bit, so I'm gonna get sort of the basic shape of it in. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, something like that. Kind of want a couple more branches in here. I'm gonna bring this one up a little bit too. Let's just get a little one in the back. There we go. I like that. I am going to leave the ends of the branches just to add a little bit of variation. And then I want to come along and replace some of the blocks with the flowering logs. And there we go. And all I need to do now is start adding in some leaves. I kind of want them to hang down a little bit so it's a little bit droopy. And you sort of walk under the leaves as you walk up to the stage here. Okay, there we go. This is turning out a lot better than I thought it was going to. I really like the way this tree is looking. And I think it's going to look amazing once I get some more plants surrounding it too. Okay, now that I have the base of the build put together, I need to move on to creating the portal. But to create the portal, I need to make terrestrial, and I need to make terrestrial inside of my pond or fountain or whatever. So I'm gonna need to get the mana from the pools I have inside into the mana pools out here and then connect them to this. This isn't exactly the most efficient setup I have here, but you know, it looks better. So I like it that way. I'm being dumb. I'm just gonna do this in here. I'm gonna bring the steel or I'm gonna bring this plate inside, take the sparks inside, and just do it straight from there. So I should probably stop these from running. All right, this is a much better idea to at least get my first one here. So I need, let's see, 4 lapis, and then the rest should be, no, that's not right. Okay, I'll need 5 of the living wood, and then 4 lapis. The plate goes on top, spark here, and a spark there. Now when I put all of the items on the plate, it should go pretty quickly. All right, there we go. Let's check out how quick this is draining the mana. Oh my god. Oh, that is so fast. Am I gonna have enough? I don't know if I have enough. That's really quick. Uh-oh. I'm a little nervous. Come on. Oh, I think it's going. The lights are doing something. Please be enough. Oh no. Oh no, it wasn't enough. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, I need to get some more mana flowing because the items might despawn. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the endo flames I have in here. I'm just gonna point that directly at the plate. Oh no, it's gotta go quick. I don't know if I'll be fast enough. Come on, please. Oh man, it's going so slow now. This is not good. Oh my god, you have got to be kidding me. How much mana does this take? Okay, the wiki says that it takes half a mana pool, but I had half a mana pool in here and I didn't do it. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and fill this up like 3/4 of the way. It's gonna take me a little while. I'm gonna have to get a bunch of materials for these endo flames, but 3/4 of the way. And then I'll try to make the terrestrial ingot again. All right, here we go. We got some mana flowing now. All right, there we go. We got 3/4 of a mana pool. Let's go ahead and drop the spark back on top. Now I can throw all the items on there and the magic starts blasting. Come on, let's go. All right, sweet. It's looking good. It's starting to move, changing colors. That's gotta be it. Come on. How many times does it have to go around? Go, go. Oh no, it's so close. Oh, what? I can't really be out of mana. Does it take a full pool to do this? Oh my god, you're kidding me. What? Why? Why? Come on. Go, do it. Oh, come on, just let that be the last one. Just a little bit more. I'm actually like devastated. I don't think this is gonna do it. I think I need a full mana pool. Oh, it did it. Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Oh my god. So I need like a little bit more than 3/4, almost a full mana pool basically. Oh god. Now I know, but I got my heart racing a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have been so tense. Okay. Now I know. Once I get things set up out here, it should be a lot easier, but for now, it's good enough. Okay, now I finally have the materials I need to make the terrestrial nuggets, which I'll use to make 2 of these pylons, and 1 Elven gateway core. I'm also going to need some normal living wood and a few pieces of glimmering living wood. The gateway core goes at the middle of the portal, and then we'll make a 5x5 portal with the glimmering living wood on the edges and on the top. All right, there it is. We need a mana pool on each side of the portal, and then we'll place a Natura pylon on top of each one. And that also means that I gotta get mana for these now. I'm just gonna bring all these endo flames out here for now, and then I'll just put them back inside when I'm done with them. There's gonna be different flowers out here once I'm done with all of this, but these are good for now. And this would be a pretty decent setup if I didn't want to use a different type of flower. But, if you only have limited resources and you want to do something simple like endo flames, just having a nice little patch of flowers with a bunch of spreaders, it'll definitely work out decently. Okay, I've got a decent amount of mana. I should be able to just right click on the portal, and there it is, the Elven Gateway. And now I can use this gateway to trade for higher level crafting materials and make better flowers and better all around everything in the mod. Specifically, I want to make the Spectrolis, and I'm going to need some pixie dust for that. To make pixie dust, I need to throw some Larimar and a mana pearl into the portal. And the Spectrolis is a mana producing flower that works by sacrificing all the different types of colors of wool in a certain order. And that is why I want to put all of the different colored flowers into this garden. All right, we'll toss in a mana pearl and the perfect Larimar, and out comes the pixie dust. And I'm going to make a few of them because I feel like I'm going to want a couple. All right, let's make the flower. But first, let's take a moment to look at how cool that looks back there. All of the runes and all of the magic all together with the tree. It's starting to come together, and it's looking better than I thought it would. I'm very, very happy with how it's coming out. Now that I have the pixie dust, I can go ahead and throw all of the ingredients into the apothecary, drop in some seeds, and I got my Spectrolis. Nice. And while I'm at it, I'm going to make a few more of those flowers too. All right, I've got 4 Spectrolis total, and I'm going to put 1 on each corner of the garden in these little garden beds, these copper grates with some mossy dirt in the middle. All right, there we go. Each one's got a mana spreader going into one of the mana pools on each corner. And now I want to come through and just kind of do some patches of all the different colors of flower. There are 16 different flowers for the 16 different colors in Minecraft, and I want to have a little spot for each of them here. All right, it's filling out. I also want to start adding a couple of the tall flowers sort of around the ruins, so it looks like things have, sort of grown around it, and it's a little overgrown in a way. And there we go. It's all full of color. Rainbow palette isn't always a great way to go, but I think it kind of works out in a little flower garden like this, so I think I like it. And then I'm going to add a few of these floating flowers throughout the garden. And lastly, I'm just going to go ahead and dot the place with a few different pots, some flower pots, some big pots, maybe even some pickles. And the last thing I think this needs is a few bits of grass just kind of poking out here and there. Okay, I think the garden is done. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. At first, I was going to do a little bit more of like a modern garden sort of design, but I kind of had the idea, let's do some lore and add this whole ancient magic theme to it, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. And now each of these tall flowers will give me 4 petals to break down. I can replant one of those to regrow the flower, and then I can turn the rest of them into dye. And now I can take all 16 of those dyes and make each color of wool. And now if I go up to one of the Spectrolis with my wand of the forest, it'll tell me which wool to give it, and that'll start producing mana and sending it into my mana pools. After each piece of wool that you give to the flower, it'll give you a new color to give it, and then you can just go down the line. And then you can just get a whole bunch of wool and cycle through that over and over again and collect yourself a whole bunch of mana to do whatever you need to do. And that is going to be my main power source for this entire garden. All right, I feel like we covered a lot today. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.